The Tarentella is a Neapolitan dance in rapid 6/8 time, so called because in legend it was believed to cure the bite of the dread tarantula. This solo is actually in 3 parts: an introduction, a cadenza, and a tarentella. The introduction uses the theme of the tarentella in augmentation. This means that the note values are increased and in this instance also played at a slower tempo. Next is the cadenza, a free virtuoso passage which acts as a bridge to the 3rd section, the tarentella itself. Cadenzas are traditionally played ad lib. That is, the performer is at liberty to improvise on the written part. You will find if you compare my version, which appears in the solo part, to the original in the piano copy, that I have taken some liberties with this section. There is an optional cut from A to C in the introduction. However, for this record, I will play the uncut version. Now listen and follow the music as I play the introduction and tarentella. studying this solo, or any other for that matter, it is vital to have a clear understanding of the form. This knowledge will help you in studying, memorizing, and interpreting, and will also save time so often wasted in learning a repeated section as though it were new. The introduction is in simple three-part song form, often called ABA. This is one of the most common forms in music. You hear it every day. Let's listen to the first 4 bars of the melody. These 4 bars are repeated, and this completes section A. Next comes section B, the middle or contrasting section. Then the form is completed by repeating section A. The entire introduction is played in a tenuto style. This, of course, means that the notes must be held out for their full value. For melodic passages, such as this, I use a soft da attack rather than the ta used in more brilliant playing. Listen for the difference. First, the da. Now the ta. We'll make use of the more brilliant ta in the cadenza and tarentella. The first note of the piece must be played firmly. A clean octave slur to the G above the staff depends greatly on how well this lower G is played. The airstream must be unbroken when playing a slur, and you must be particularly careful with any slurs which are produced without a valve change. Since the octave slur G to G reappears throughout this solo, I suggest that you give it special attention. Try slurring first from G to G. Then A flat to A flat. A to A. And so on. After practice like this, you will find it much easier to slur the lower G's. The cadenza, as I mentioned before, is ad lib. The best guide for passages like this is a good sense of musicianship. But remember, before you can really be free in your own interpretation, you must master all the notes perfectly. Start your practicing slowly and only increase speed as you gain accuracy. Be sure to keep a good column of air flowing on all the scale passages. Finger them firmly and evenly. Watch the dynamic markings at letter D. The second group of notes here, marked pianissimo, should sound like an echo. Listen. In the tarentella, the second note of each of the slurs in the first 2 bars is short, like this. This is a very rhythmic section, quite similar to the style of an Irish jig. Connect the slurred groups of 3/8 notes as much as possible. Play them smoothly and evenly, making sure that each note gets the same value. Listen to the first few bars. The optional measure at letter H is very important since it is repeated over and over. Let's look at it carefully to understand the changes I have made. The quarter note G on the first beat is shortened to an 1/8 note. Instead of playing the group of 7 notes as shown on the original part, play the first 2 notes as a pickup and the last 5 notes exactly on the second beat of the measure. I will play this measure slowly with the metronome and show you what I mean. Once again, faster. The rhythm is still very important at letter R, and you must be very careful to maintain the tempo established in the preceding section. Don't let it drag here. At letter S, and wherever else this articulation occurs, make a little accent on the notes as marked so they will sound strong and clear. I'll repeat this measure a few times for you. Letter T brings us back to the theme and style of the beginning of the Tarentella. Be sure to grab a breath at letter V, which will carry you all the way through to letter W. Do not breathe after the dotted half notes in this passage, as it will surely slow the rhythm. Using the first valve for the high A flats in the bar before W will also make this passage much easier for you. Make a terrific crescendo on the triplets leading up to the high C, and don't let up until you have played the final low C. Listen from letter V through to the end. Always remember to practice slowly and carefully. This is a most effective solo that covers a wide variety of styles and techniques. Any extra care and effort spent in mastering it will be time well spent toward making you a better player.